Okay, so let's talk about a very common scenario that happens a lot when you're coding. And before we begin, I am located now in lecture 44 in the script.js. So I have a function here, and the function is order chicken with, and it lets you pass a side dish, and really it's very simple, just prints back out to the console the order chicken with and whatever the side dish is. So in this case, we're calling it order chicken with, and we're passing the string noodles. What it should print out is chicken with noodles to the console. So if we save this, and indeed chicken with noodles gets printed out. Now what happens if I call the same function, but I pass nothing to it? Well, side dish will become undefined in this function. So when the side dish is undefined, it should print chicken with, and it will coerce this side dish variable into string undefined. So if I save that, I'll get chicken with noodles, that's the first call, and the second one, chicken with undefined. Well, obviously this is not something we want the user to see, or really is not very helpful. So what can we do to avoid that? Well, we could create a default value that if the value for side dish is not provided, we could substitute it with that value. So let's go ahead and do that. The simplest way of doing that is just to create an if statement. So we'll say if side dish is equal, and we can even do triple equal, to undefined, and we'll go ahead and say that our side dish is equals to the string noodles. There we go, it's already sitting there. Okay, so now when I save this, the second time it calls, it will say noodles. In fact, actually, let's change that to, let's say, side dish with whatever. Okay, so now when I call it without any arguments, it will see that the side dish is undefined, and it will print out chicken with whatever. Let's go ahead and save that. And there it goes, that's chicken with whatever. Now this is all nice and well, but the thing is this is a little bit too verbose, and JavaScript has a shortcut way of doing the same thing. And let me go ahead and code that for you now. So what you could do instead is you could say side dish is equal to side dish or whatever, the string whatever. Now, so how is that working? First of all, let's see if it's working, right? So let's save that, and it still says chicken with whatever. So how is this working? Well, the reason this is working is because each and one of these values is getting coerced into a Boolean value. And we spoke about coercion before. So when we make the second call without any arguments, the side dish here, this variable, is undefined. So undefined right here gets coerced into a Boolean and becomes false. So if it's false, or the second statement will get evaluated. And the second statement, since it is a non-empty string, gets evaluated to true. And what the OR statement does in this circumstance is actually returns the value before it was coerced. So what it actually returns to side dish here is the string whatever exclamation point. Well, let's go check that out in the console. So we have this wrapper class called Boolean, and we could say, okay, what happens if you do true? In fact, forget that. We'll just do true or false. If we do true or false, it will say true. What happens if we do empty string or true? You will say true. But what happens if we say hello or empty string? It will say hello. So it will return whatever coerces to true first. So here we never even got to evaluate the empty string. So if we reverse that, we'll still get hello. We'll still get hello, this hello, and the reason this never got evaluated is since this evaluated itself to true, the OR statement no longer has to evaluate anything else, because the OR statement by its definition says if the first thing it sees is true, it is no reason to evaluate anything else, because it's an OR, right? It's either this is true or this is true. Well, once you know this one is true, then it no longer matters what anything else is coming behind it. So this is one way to set up a very quick default value type of scenario. And if you open up professional code of jQuery library or any professional libraries out there, or really any professional JavaScript code, you will see this construct quite a bit. So I wanted to make sure to cover it here, so if you ever see this code kind of in action, you won't be confused as to what it's trying to accomplish.